Our private group. I'm Kat, owner of Kat's Creations and more, and I am here to show you another amazing design. So a lot of my private group members are getting ready and wrapping up for their craft fair sales. And so besides wreaths, it's always nice because you're generally given a table to display some things. And rather than waste the space with like, let's lay a wreath down or maybe place it up on a wreath stand, it's great if you can have some different kinds of home decor that people can kind of like collaborate, mix and match kind of things. And so I worked on this design yesterday and I cannot wait to show it to you. And we finally have a purpose for the super large, what do you call them? The witch hat metal frames from the Dollar Tree to create another unforgettable design. So I am going to walk you through all the steps. We're going to make 2 of them tonight and going to show you 2 different ways of doing them, and then how you decide to do them after that is entirely up to you. And you can make these for any season, any holiday, any color scheme. For me, I like to decorate my pot shelves during the holidays, so I was looking for something that I can kind of fill large space with, rather than, you know, looking for a large item to occupy the space, just something that is like low-key, not expensive, but fills the space. So I figured that out today. Can't wait to share it with you. Couple things. I know you're going to want to save this tutorial. So if you're on Facebook right now, just click the share button. It's going to take this tutorial and it's going to automatically stick it right on your Facebook page, where it is super easy for you to find it. If you are on YouTube and catching this on a replay, just click the save button and that'll save it into however you have it set up on your YouTube account, whether you have a playlist or you're just saving things just in a random folder. That is how you're going to save this. Also, if you want to get notified when I go live, which is Tuesdays at 4 and Fridays at 5 p.m., both Pacific time, make sure if you're on Facebook that you have liked this page and that you've also are following it. Following is hidden. It's the 3 little dots that nobody knows what those 3 little dots are for. Click on it, opens up a sub menu, allows you to see who are you following. Because if you're on my page right now, click those little dots. If you're following this page, it'll already be highlighted for you. If not, click on that button, make sure you follow, and then that way you'll turn your notifications on. Kind of complicated, right? Why hide it? If you are on YouTube, just subscribe to my channel and you'll get notified whenever we have another exciting tutorial to share with you. So I'm going to go ahead and drop you down below, but let me show you really quick because it's kind of hard sometimes to show you vertical things when we're face down. So this is what we're working on tonight. These are sets of fall fabric trees. So I have one that's all done with like ghosts and the red truck with pumpkins. And then we have this acorn pattern. I'm just going to set these here. And then we also have this one that's done in a fall plaid. So when I have these all set up, let me see if I can do these and kind of pivot you down just slightly so you can kind of see them. They're going to, oop, that just dropped it all the way to the bottom. They're actually going to sit on my pot shelf. So I have some that are high, like the large, the medium, and the small. I'm going to show you how we're going to put those together tonight. So bear with me while I tighten this up. Well, I'm not even sure how that got so loose, but it is. Hang tight. I'm like trying to hold it and trying to tighten at the same time. Okay, so this is what we're going to be making. So the large is 21 inches high from the base to the top. It is 8 inches wide. The medium is 16 inches high by 6.5 inches at its widest. And then the small little baby one is 12 inches tall. Remember, we're going from base to the top, and 4 inches at its widest point. So as you can see, these are going to fill my space without costing me a fortune in wood slices or whatever. So what we're going to need, I'm going to reposition this camera so we're a little bit centered down a bit. I am always so picky. So you are going to need fall fabric. So I just went out this weekend to Joann's because Joann's has sales on their fall fabric. I think I want to say it's 50% off. I picked out these three. Obviously I did the acorn pattern already. We're going to do the pumpkins and we're going to do the plaid, just so you can see what some of the differences are. Okay. So all you'll need is like a yard of your favorite cotton fabric. You might already have this laying around, which is great because, hey, here's something else you can use that with. We're going to do the pumpkin one first. And do you guys want to know what we are creating these from? It is exciting! Remember these forms? We're going to be using these to make our Christmas trees or our fall trees from. So you have your choice between extra small, small, medium, large, and I haven't even done the extra large yet. So what we're going to be doing is we are going to be cutting down this Dollar Tree frame, and I have had these for a long time. So I can't, like, I was always struggling with, this is a big wreath to do something with, to create. There's some people who are like struggling with what to do with this. So Elizabeth says, I have some in my stash. Awesome. So these are going to be amazing for you to utilize. Let me go ahead and pull up my page so I can see this. So, hi Arvina, hi Janie, hi Debbie, hi Cheryl, Elizabeth, Melody, you made it. Awesome. So glad. So you first of all have to decide. Good, Debbie. She says, I have lots of those frames. So now we get to figure out what we're going to do with them. So you decide what size trees you want. Like I said, if you end up cutting it here, you're going to have the extra small. If you end up cutting here, you're going to have the small version. This is the medium version. This was my largest that I built, and I have not made the extra large. I don't think I want to do that because the large with the stem and the block is already at 21 inches. And I think I'm like right there with my pot shelf. But you could go all the way extra large. So what we're going to make tonight is a medium and we're going to make a small. So guess what? We get to break out wire cutters because we're going to cut this bad boy down into frames that are going to be usable. So to make our small, extra small, small, medium, we're going to cut it right here at that weld with our wire cutters. We're just going to cut right into our frame, just like that. And we have our medium-sized frame. We're all set. We're all ready to go, kind of. I'm also going to use this middle section in here for our the post for our tree. So we have our post, we have our tree. We're good to go. So it's just turning out just like this. We won't need our wire cutters for anything else roughly that I can think of. Now we have to do a couple things. So in addition to your fabric and your hot glue and your tools, you are going to need foam core. Jeannie, these are musadas. So a friend of mine got these for me off of Amazon. I will include the Amazon affiliate link when this goes to replay. You can use a regular set of wire cutters. You just might have to really work at it to get that through. But I was able to cut a weld with this because I had misplaced these. So they do work. It's just a little bit more hand strength is required to use just regular wire cutters. You will need an X-Acto knife. you will need a rotary cutter. You will need a pair of fabric scissors. Like I said, you will need a hot glue gun. You will need wire cutters. I'm trying to think of what else. And foam core. So where can you get foam core? Well, foam core is sold at Hobby Lobby. It's about, I want to say $1. You can kind of tell where I've already cut mine. It's $1.99 for a piece of this, and it's about 1/4 inch thick. So sometimes Dollar Tree carries it. If you can get it at Dollar Tree, way to go. You're only spending an extra 60 cents to get it at Hobby Lobby. But Hobby Lobby's is a lot thicker. Dollar Tree's is about 1/8 of an inch, but it's easier to cut. So before we go ahead and start getting started on cutting our fabric, we need to create a backing for this, for our tree, so that when we glue our stem in, if all we've done is glued our fabric over here, you know, we want to have a pretty back. So that's one of the things that you'll notice about mine is the back is the same as the front. Well, how do you make that happen if you're gluing fabric? I'm going to show you how to do that. So foam core is the key. So right here, I like to take advantage of straight edges when possible. So I like to use the very edge of my board. And we're just going to draw all the way around our form. And there we go. We're going to make a template of that. So I'm going to set that to the side. We are going to get an X-Acto knife. If you have a styrofoam cutter, because there is tools that are like a little pinpoint that they get really hot, and it's kind of like a foam cutter, you can use that, but you don't need to. Just if you have an X-Acto knife, that'll work for you. And so what you're going to do is we're going to cut this out, and it's okay if you're a little on the short side. Like if you don't cut it perfectly right on the line, you're okay. So I'm going to go top to bottom and just drag this down, and you'll see how thick this Hobby Lobby board is. That generally it takes me a couple passes to get it in. So again, all the way down. Like I said, it generally takes me 2 because you have to get through the paper edge. And then up here on the top, I'm just going to go around just like this. And I think we should be able to pop that one out. What ends up sticking is it's the paper backing here, but not a big deal. We're just going to go ahead and cut that around. Okay, that's all you need. Once you cut that, we're good with our foam core. We don't need that anymore. Double check and make sure which way you did your pattern, because as you can see right there, it looks a little off, right? It's because I did it on this side. So when you line up your pattern, right, this is the side that is going to get glued to my frame. So I'm just going to write a B because that is the inside. This will be the outside that I need to cover with my fabric. You're so welcome, Elizabeth. I'm like, there are things that I stick in my house, so I'm like, well, why wouldn't I show you guys how to do it? Okay, we have both of those. Making sure that when you line up your foam core on top of your frame, if you have a little overhang, don't worry. If it really bothers you an awful lot, you can come in here with your X-Acto knife and you can just trim some of that off if you want. It doesn't matter. We just need to make sure that it's at least enough to where we can glue a backing on it. Okay? From there, set that aside. We are going to cut our fabric now. And here's the nice thing, because I'm all about not having to do extra work. If your fabric is all wrinkly, don't worry about it. Because once we get this all situated, once we start gluing it, we don't have anything really to worry about. And if you can kind of tell, The person who did this fabric cut didn't cut it straight. It's kind of like, it's like on a diagonal. So I don't want that when I cut my fabric. I want to make sure that it's straight, right? So the way I'm seeing straight would be like right there is straight on my fabric. So I kind of want to make sure that my pumpkins are going in the same general direction. And I'm going to go up just a touch. And I want to leave, I'm going to use a rotary cutter. And all we're going to do is leave about a 1/4 inch margin all the way around. So I've done it there. Let's go ahead over here. And then we're going to do one right here across the bottom. And where things don't necessarily line up, that's where I'm going to use my scissors to kind of help connect the dots. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to glue it to the frame anyway. So if you're not a perfectly straight fabric cutter, don't worry. Okay, so we've got that one done. This is going to go on top of that. We need to cut one more. This time it's going to be, set this one aside. We're going to do one for a foam core as well. Again, making sure that our pattern lines up. I could do it like this, but my pumpkins would be upside down. So I am going to make sure I have enough to get a 1/4 inch all the way around. Oops, there we go. There's that one. Down along the bottom. Right at the top. And let's just connect those two pieces. We're going to take this. I'm going to set this aside because we don't need that. Okay. What I should have done, and I haven't, but I can do, now that I'm thinking about it, is I'm not seeing it. Let's see if it's in this toolbox. Nope, I'm not seeing that. Hang tight. Just 1 second. So, Bonder makes 2 different types of glue guns. They make one called a Cool Shot, and they also make one that's like this. It's a dual temperature, but this is like your detail tip. If you notice on my standard glue gun, it's got a pretty wide tip, which is great for most of the time. I am going to glue or put these in. Hopefully these will work pretty quick, and then I can answer questions. Let me get those going. The Cool Shot has special glue sticks that keeps your glue from melting the styrofoam. Let's see. Rosalind asked, where did you get the frames? They're at Dollar Tree. They're the large metal witch hat frames. And so we've cut them down. So I'm going to set this one over to the side. We're going to go ahead and glue our other frame, because we can use just the regular glue gun for that. We're going to position it to where our pumpkins are straight. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a bead of glue down the top. a little bit at a time. I'm just going to wrap my metal frame just so it's all adhered. Always making sure we have our 1/4 inch gap. It's really cold out in my shop, so my glue has been drying way faster than I need it to. So this one already glued because it was a little thin to begin with. Okay, so we've glued the first one on. Okay, don't worry about your tops and don't worry about the corners just yet. We're just gluing the sides. Okay, now we are going to, I'm going to glue my top. Oops. And this is where I was saying that if your fabric needs to be ironed and you just don't want to have time to iron that, you're just going to stretch your fabric on your frame. Okay, just like that. I'm going to bring this down as I pull this over. Okay, just like this. Ain't nobody want to have their fabric tree with this as the back. Well, I want to make sure it looks just as pretty as the front, right? And anywhere that you need to add extra glue, like I said, in my shop it's kind of cold. Right now it's 60, but it makes my glue dry really quick. So now I'm going to go along the bottom, just like so. I'm going to lift this up just slightly, just so we can get that bottom lip brought up. Glue those up. Okay, this is going to kind of form a little weird corner here, and that's okay. We want it to kind of look like a little pleated corner. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and glue that little piece that's right here on my frame that it didn't quite get all the way up to. Okay, so there is what we have done thus far. Okay, nice cute little pumpkin print fall tree. Now we have to finish those corners. So because these are kind of done in a pleated fashion, what I want you to do is I want you to lay your glue here and then drag that out to the edge. And I want you to push and lift this and pull it towards the back. So you're going to let it, I haven't glued this one yet. So you're going to open this up. You're going to put glue in this crack and run it all the way up. And then when you sandwich it together, you're going to pull it backwards. Like I did this one. I've pulled it to the back. This is what we're doing here. We're going to open this. So I'm just going to go right here and then into the corner. Not all the way, but just get it to kind of come to the back. Okay? Come together, but come to the back. So that these pleats, now, if I was to take it and do it this way, now we have perfect corners down here at the bottom. Now we need to do the same up at the top. Same way, we're going to open it like this. We're going to lay a bead of glue right around the point and just a little ways up, squish it, and pull it backwards. So we're kind of pinching and pulling it away. This way it gives us a snug fit on the top, and then all the excess is at the bottom, right here. So we've got this little flag. We've got this little flag and this little flag. Okay, super simple to fix the little flag parts. We're just going to take our fabric scissors and we are going to cut that flush. We're just going to cut that off. And now it's tacked down. Same thing here. we're gonna just cut those off. Right here, here's my little flag. Cut those off. And now we have perfect corners all the way through, okay? We obviously need to fix this because we need to hide a lot of the mechanics. Number one, we need to hide this metal post. So this is where that foam core backing comes into play. So that being said, we are going to take that foam core piece that we have, and let's see, is our cool shot? Our cool shot is working. So you could use, because sometimes we're not going to run right out to get the cool shot. The cool shot just makes sure that it's a lot cooler. It's still glue, but it's at a cooler temperature, which means it won't start to dissolve our styrofoam. Hard to believe there is one. Cool shot glue guns also take different glue sticks. So even if you have the mini glue sticks, you can't use them in the cool shot because they have their own temperature glue. Can you use a regular one? Yes, you can. Okay, I'm going to show you. So what we're going to do is, remember, this is our back. This is what our fabric is getting adhered to. Okay, so this is where we're going to glue everything. So we're going to go, I'm going to take it with my regular glue gun. I'm going to lay a bead of glue right here, right along that foam edge. Right here. I'm just dragging my glue gun along the edge of that foam core. And then what I want you to do is take, and I want you to lift this along the edge, or you could just flip it. Okay? Once it's flipped, it's going to go ahead and make sure that it's glued along that edge. And sometimes our glue does not go, you know, like I can't see how thick that glue thread is on the end. But if you need to add some more glue, that's fine. And so we have this flap, right? Let's go ahead and glue the flap down. So we're going to run our glue, just a bead of glue right here, about 1/4 of an inch on top of our foam core. And we're going to go ahead and pull that through. Okay. Just like that. And we've done one side. Nice and pretty. Okay, we're still going to do our corners the same way. So here, same thing. Run your glue. A nice, just even line of glue right along the edge of that foam. And then you can lift it up, or you can just roll it. This way it allows you to kind of pull and stretch your fabric. If you have some wrinkles, you can go ahead and pull those out before that glues. Okay, once we get that, we're going to glue the flap down. Okay, just like this. And we're going to go ahead and pull our fabric along here all the way up to the top. Make sure if you have a dual temperature glue gun, it's on low, because I don't need you getting wood or hot glue gun burns. Now we're going to do the same thing down here, just like when we were gluing the fabric to our frame. We're going to glue that down here. You're going to leave the corners open. You're going to go ahead and pull your fabric up so we can get a nice even seam along there. Okay. Leaving our corners that funky opening. We're going to go ahead and glue another 1/4 inch, because we're going to pull that flap down. Okay. Just like that. And now back up here at the top, we're going to do the same thing that we did on our wire frame. We're going to glue around the edge, and then right here at the tip, as we pull that up, we're going to pull it backwards. So pinch it together, pull it backwards. so that when I pull this around in the front now, I have a smooth edge. We don't see the ends of that fabric gathered together. Okay, we're going to do the same thing here. Right in that little pocket, you're going to go ahead and just put a bead of glue, pinch, pull it back so it's on the back side. And then here, we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to put a dab of glue, pull, and get that coming towards the back. So that if I was to take these and fold them, now I have smooth finished ends all the way through. Okay, that's how you create a really good backing that looks professional. From here, we're going to do the same thing we did on the wire. You're going to lay your scissors flush with your foam core and just cut the end of that off. Okay, same thing here. Lay your scissors flush to the board, cut that corner off. Lay your scissors flush to the board and just cut that off. Okay, this is our back, this is our front. So now, when we go and take these and line these up, they line up perfectly, which gives you the finished fabric on one side and fabric on the other side, okay? Now we have to glue our stem in. So this one just happens to be, it's about 7.5 inches long. You can determine how short, how long, it doesn't matter. It's entirely up to you for your preference. Sometimes I've made them long, and then when I put them in the block of the wood, just to keep them upright, it's a little too long, so I always end up cutting it. So that's an option you have. You can go long and then wait, put it in your block and see, is that too long? Because then you can take it out and you can go ahead and cut it. However, we need to make sure that our stem is at least straight. So sometimes it's just look at it, you know, put it on the back side and look at it here and see how does that look for you. And then I'm going to go ahead and just lay a bead of glue here. It looks weird because you would think this isn't centered, but when I go ahead and flip it over and then look at my frame, you can go ahead and make any slight adjustments that you need to before that glue dries. Okay. So we're going to let that glue dry. I've got this little flap, so that just irritates me. I'm going to make sure that's just glued down. Now we're going to glue top to the bottom, okay? When we do this, you want to make sure that your edges are as close as they possibly can be. Meaning that, you know, everything's lining up, that they're not just slightly off, or that it's like this, that it's pretty much as on the mark as you can possibly get. You might have some slight adjustments that you might have to make before we glue that on. So you're going to have to do this one really quick. So I always keep an extra glue stick handy because I go through my glue pretty quick. We're going to go right along the edge with a pretty good bead of glue, because now we're going to glue the top to our bottom right over here. And now we're going to take top, almost like set it down wrong, and then this is where you're going to press. It's usually easier if you press the foam side down because it gives you an awful lot more padding than just the wire. And you can go ahead and make slight little adjustments. You can kind of go ahead and just kind of tuck in. If it's not lined up perfectly, you can make the slight adjustments as the glue's drying. But what you want to see is, like right here, I have this gap. I'm going to come in and I'm going to add glue into that gap. and I want to hold that shut. Sometimes it just happens where, for whatever reason, maybe the foam core isn't perfectly flat, and so it needs a little bit of assistance. But go around and look and see, do you have any openings that you need to seal shut? And that's where this detail glue gun comes into play. Okay, why are you not on? Maybe you need glue. Let me look. I have that one way at the bottom of my glue holder. Of course it would be way down there. Okay, now it'll work. So that detail tip allows you to get your glue in those spaces a little easier. So then you can take them and squish them closed. Just like so. Let that go ahead and set up and close. Now, while that looks great and all, like I'm sure you guys can see that, you can see the difference between the foam core at the bottom and my fabric wrapped frame at the top. It's a little thin. I don't like to see that. Again, that's mechanics, but that's just me. If you like it like that, you can leave it like that. But I want it to have a finished look to it. This is going to drive me crazy. So let me clean this real quick. So this is where you can get fun things like rickrack. You can get really pretty 3/8 inch ribbon. Basically, this is going to, like if we were to use this, this is going to give you a nice finished edge along the edge of your project, so that you don't see that dual separation. You don't see how in the heck did they create that. So we can use this one, or we can use orange rickrack. That gives you a totally different look. I'm going to glue my top one more time, but this is what that will do, and it just gives you a different look. Again, you can get those at Hobby Lobby, Joann's, Michael's, wherever you can get your ribbon or rickrack. You can purchase those there. Right now, a lot of them are 50% off their fall and Christmas, so you can even score on the fabric, and then you can score on embellishments, or you can score on your trim. So with this one, I think I don't want to do plaid. I'm going to do plaid on this one, and we're going to do orange on the plaid because I need to finish my trees. So I prefer to start it at the bottom on the one side of my tree. So I am going to go and I'm going to lay glue all the way along the edge. I'm going to start with my fabric strip right at the edge of my base, the little stem, just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to go all the way along this edge. You don't have to go the whole distance. You can just start a little at a time. I find it's just easier if you just layer glue down, and then you go ahead and you just extend your ribbon out. Okay. Right here, we're going to go right along the edge. See, I ran out of my glue. There we go. Had to load the glue gun. I'm going to go right up to the top. So laying this right along the edge just makes it so much easier for everything to stick. Okay. We're going around. So this just gives your unfinished edges a more finished look. So just let your finger kind of follow that around, pull back. We're just gluing that along the end. Just like so. And now we're just going to run it to the end. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to trim that right where it ends. And then we're going to trim the little tail all the way in. And then just lay that all the way to the end. So we have trimmed, finished edging all the way around our tree. If you have these little edges that, you know, are just not quite down enough, you can kind of come in with your detailed glue gun. This is where having one of those is key, because then we can take those and we can glue them flush if that bothers you. If it doesn't, you don't have to worry about it. But that is our first fabric tree. So remember, this one's the large. It will be 21 inches from the base all the way to the top, 8 inches at its width. Now what we need to do is we have our stem. My stem looks a little crooked because if I measure this, it's kind of going slightly off. But that's okay because we can bend them once they're in the block. So I cut these wood blocks. This is a, what is it? They're called 2x2 at the hardware store, but they're really not. They're more like 1.5 by 1.5, but go figure there. You can stain these. You can do whatever you want. You could add stencils to them. I find that like right now, sometimes you can find like little signs that you could add to the very bottoms. Like this one says Merry Christmas. It's like a little magnet. Whatever you want to do, I am going to do it here, I think. Probably here. So I'm gonna find the middle on this 2.5 inch block, which is right about here. Okay, then you could have your husband, these are just cut to 3.5 inches. So it's a 2x2 cut to 3.5 inch lengths. You need large, like when you go something large, like this one's going to be 21 inches. Right now without it, it is 12 inches tall. When we go long, we need a width to stabilize the tree. Otherwise, it's just going to fall over. So I tried putting these in cute little terracotta pots, but the pots were about 2 inches in diameter and they were way too small. The tree just toppled over in the pot. So I was like, okay, they're getting wood bases. You can probably even do them on the, what do you call them? Wood slices, but they're going to have to be somewhere about 3 inches round, and then you're going to drill a hole in the center. So remember, you can ask your husband to do it, or ladies, we can do the job ourselves. We can get a rotary cutter. I'll post the Amazon link for this. This thing is going to be indispensable for you as a crafter. We're going to add our own drill bit because it comes with the drill bit included. You're going to take the largest drill bit that it has, because that's going to be the width of the wire, coincidentally, for our frame. You're going to depress the button. This allows you to slide the drill bit in. And then you can tighten. It's just like a little screw. Hold the button in while you're tightening it. Then when you let off, it holds your drill bit in. Okay? It has 4 speeds. So there's, you can barely tell. There's low, medium, high, and then high. We're going to take this like a little pencil. We're going to hold it directly over that dot. And we're going to go ahead and add our drill. all the way in. Let me turn this off. I jammed my drill. Pushed it in too hard. There's our hole right in the center. Oop. Keep turning it on. There we go. So now we can take that and we can put our pine tree or our tree in the center. And remember how I told you I left this one a little bit long? So this is like way too long. I need to cut that down quite a bit. So and I'm going to do these just with regular wire cutters so that you can see. It'll do it, but you're going to use the leverage on the bottom part of your wire cutter. You're going to press down. You might have to go around a couple times. They're just so much easier with the Musata. Let's just do that. I've gotten it almost done. These are just so much easier. Right there. Light squeeze. Go ahead and place that inside your hole. Make sure that you're happy with, I know, Steve, use some masadas. So there is our tree. Now we can decorate it. You could add, like I did on the other medium one that I did, I added a little raffia or twine bow. You can put it at the top, you can put it at the bottom. If you cut a couple pieces of twine to roughly 11 inches long, make sure that they're all even. Kind of suck at doing these kind. You're just going to make your bow, make your loop, go around the outside, and gather that in. Just kind of even it up. There's that. There's that. And then you can add that to the bottom if you'd like. You can add it to the top. You can put it top at an angle. I kind of like mine here at the bottom. I don't know why. It just appeals to me. So super simple. You can glue this in. If you want to sell them and ship them, look, super simple to ship. You can put a whole bunch of them in there. Annette, the little drill, it's a rotary drill. I got it from Amazon. I will post the affiliate link when this goes to replay so that you can order it directly from that link. Okay, so like I said, shipping, you could glue them in. I would probably not glue them in. And then this way the customer could glue them in if they want. Let's go ahead and add our fun little bow thing here at the bottom. I'm just going to glue this on. Tag this to the bottom. Just like that. And then, like I said, you just glue that into the frame. If you are slightly off, like let's say, for example, you glued this and you're way off, because it's a wire stem, just bend it. Bend your tree wherever it needs to go. And then before you make it permanent and glue it, then glue it in the straight up position once you have tweaked it to your liking. Like mine is just slightly off. So I just glue it in the position I need it to be in, which is straight up and down. It's easier for some reason, like to get it in the block and then figure out what is straight up and down, rather than trying to figure this out when we're gluing the stem in. So there's the first one, okay? We're going to go ahead and make the second one, and I'm going to show you the difficulty between working with plaid and lined patterns. So there's the first one. This one again measures, because this I think was our medium. It is 16 inches exactly right to from the very bottom to the very top. So I've got it on point, and it is 6.5 inches wide at the longest. So I'm going to set this one back here with the rest of the trees. This is going to make for a really fun look for your shelves, your pot shelves, whatever. It's a great way to take leftover fabric, maybe from your grandson, your granddaughter, and you want to incorporate some of their, whatchamacallit, some of their fabrics into your holiday decor, or repurpose it and give it back to the parents. Janie, she says, keep losing voice signal, go out, and then go back in. Sometimes it's just a glitch with Facebook. Okay, let's make, we said we're going to make we did the medium. Let's do a small, which we're going to grab another one of our Dollar Tree frames. And the small one is made by going 2 triangles down. Remember, you can go extra small, small, medium, large, and extra large. We're going to do another small because I like the smalls. They look cute. So we're going to go in here with our wire cutters. That'll just make this so easy to do. Okay. Because you still have a lot of availability in this frame, let's go ahead and cut our stem. We're going to go ahead and use that large one. And the rest of the frame, we can toss. So from here, we have our stem. We have our, I'm making sure that this is straight. This one looks like slightly off. Like I have it, the bottom, completely on a straight line. So I'm going to grab another one. And I'm going to redo that. It had nothing to do with me, but because these are welded, I'm just going to come in and make sure I've got a straight shot. Let's see if this one's straight. Yay! We have a straight one. Straight along the bottom, straight right up the center. So sometimes it does that. Okay. Really simple, quick. We're doing the plaid. So we have to measure our foam core. So let's go ahead and move our pieces around. This is my leftover foam core. You can get this at Hobby Lobby or the Dollar Tree. I like to take advantage of straight lines where I can. Plus it's less cutting for me. We're going to go all the way around. And now we're going to cut that out with our X-Acto knife because this creates our backing. So remember, you do not have to worry about being right on the line. You could be on the inside of that line and you're still good. We're going to go around the corner. And I'm going to go ahead and do it one more time to get through that extra thick paper backing. And now we can pull this out. And there's our back. So now we have our back. And we're all set. Again, make sure you determine before you start gluing your fabric on. Remember, because there is a way that it's going to match and there's a way it's not going to match. It's going to match the way you drew your pattern. So this is my match. So if I want to trim that up and make it match a little bit better, I can come in and just kind of thin that out. And I'm going to do it right here with this one a little bit. So I'm just trimming that up to where it fits a little bit more snug. Whoop. I got it off my foam core piece. Okay, so that's the way I measured it. We need to put the bee in there. Ah, Janie says, mystery solved. My brother started using speaker on his phone. That'll do it. Register Bluetooth. Okay. So now this is my back. So my fabric is going on this side. And so now we're going to use our plaid, which is here. So the thing about using plaid or anything with lines is you need to make sure that it lines up. Okay, so I'm going to take and I'm going to grab the other side. This side has a big old wrinkle in the middle. Okay, this is driving me crazy. Hate cutting left side of the fabric, but it's only going to be a small piece anyway. So when you are doing this, you need to make sure that your lines line up, meaning the very bottom line has to be straight. Otherwise, it's going to look wonky when you go and go to glue it on. So remember, we're doing 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'm just going to go all the way up. And then I'm going to just do it here. There's that. I've got a good seam allowance at the bottom. I'm just going to trim that up. This is my bottom piece. Let's trim our top piece. Make sure that's all in. I'm making sure I'm not stretching the fabric any weird wonky way. This one's got a weird warp to it, so I'm going to go up just a little bit higher. Okay, just like that. Right over. I've got a sloppy cut. That's okay. There we go. That one's all set. Okay, here we go. Now, again, when we are gluing, we have to make sure, because we're on that plaid, we've got to make sure our line at the bottom lines up. I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to go right along the edge of my frame. Right here. I'm going to take and lift and pull that over all the way down. I like making the little ones. I like cute little things. Okay, I'm still lined up on my line. I'm going to do the same thing here. Go ahead and pull that fabric over. Okay, now we want to make sure that our line stays straight. So I'm going to glue up here, and I'm going to pull my fabric line up. So if you don't want to have to be that perfect and making sure all your lines line up, don't get plaid fabric, because you want to make sure that you're straight on your lines at the bottom. Otherwise it just looks weird. I'm going to go ahead and trim this off because I have way too much, because I made that one way too long. Same thing here at the bottom. I made it incredibly long. And a little bit right here. Okay. Remember, for our points, we don't worry about gluing the end. We're going to actually glue right here on our frame. a little bit into the fabric, we're going to pull and pull that back around so that we get a rounded end. And we need that fabric to be on the back, not straight up, just to the back. We're going to do the same thing for our corners. I'm going to glue in, and then we're just going to pull and bring that back to the back. For this one, same thing. Right into that corner, bring it back. Those create our like little flags. Remember, everything is to the back now, so that we have a nice, good, cute seam. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and cut those little ends off. Flush along your project. Just cut them off. Again, flush here. We're going to cut that flag off right there. Cut this one off. And everything is to the back of our design. Now we need to cover the other part. So you could also, if you don't, like, let's say for example you have very small little limited fabric, can you cover this with felt? Absolutely. The one that I did, this one, I did fabric front and I did felt backing. You can do that as well. So if you want to do the felt, I think this should be enough. See, I save all my little pieces. We're going to do the same thing with this. We're going to go ahead and cut generous piece. I'm going to go across just to even that up. Straight across the bottom. Now with the felt, you don't have to worry about where your pattern winds up. Just that you have your 1/4 inch seam. So from here, same way, we are going to, this drives me crazy. We're going to take our hot glue gun and we're going to glue right down the seam. Remember, right down the edge. And we're just going to roll our foam core right onto that felt, and that's going to pull it right to the edge of our board. Okay, let's go ahead and glue that to the actual foam core now. We're just going to pull all the forward. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do it to this side. And we're going to roll that right onto our fabric, right onto our felt. We can go ahead and pull just to make sure that's nice and snug on the back. We're going to do the same along the bottom. I'm just pulling that up. You can do the same thing. Use the edge of your foam core. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and glue the rest of my felt down. Pull that over. This just makes it easier when we go to attach our fabric to the other side to have this as flat as possible. It creates a really good glue surface. Here's our tip. So we're going to pinch and we're going to pull that back. Okay. Same thing for our ends. We've got those little pocket openings. Just going to put a dab of glue in there, pinch, and pull that towards the back. Felt picks up everything. So there's that one. Pinch, bring it towards the back. Dusting that all off so we have a nice clean surface. There we go. Same thing that we did with the fabric. We're going to cut those little edges off. So right here, flush with the board. Okay. We're going to go here, flush with the board. Actually didn't glue this here. We needed to do that. And then I'll go ahead and cut this one off. And then I'll glue that little end so that we have a perfect back for our fabric tree. So now remember, we glue front to back. But before we do that, we have to add our stem. So we've got our stem, a little longer one. Again, just kind of, sometimes it's just looking at it, like eyeballing it and trying to determine, hey, is that straight? I think that's straight. It looks straight. So I am going to add my glue, and then I'm going to pivot that, and then I'm going to look on the front and make sure, is that at least straight? Okay. Double check, because you can like make slight adjustments before you put the other piece on top. Once you have everything where you like it, we are going to quickly run our glue along the edge of our felt all the way up to the top, back down again, up over. And this one, it's like, I think it's more challenging to try to glue the top onto the bottom with the felt because there's like a gap. But you want to make sure that you're, again, you know, you're pressing and holding and getting those edges, the sides to come together. Again, we're going to use rickrack or whatever else you want to use. You could come in with, whatchamacallit, like twine. You can add a more rustic look to this one, which I think I'm going to do this time. We're going to make this one a little bit more rustic looking. So make sure you've got good, you know, if there's anywhere where it's like, hey, I can kind of almost get glue in there. Get your detailed glue gun, which is always good for that. I've got some down here on the bottom I want to close up. So I'm going to go right in here and right in there. And then I'm going to press and hold those together to give me a tighter seam. And then we're going to add that rustic element to this. Let's go ahead and get that to dry. Just, you want it to seal really good. That's what makes the difference between good quality crafts that are handmade over ones that are not. And you'd be surprised at how expensive these are. For ones that are not this detailed, there are people selling 2 of them for $30 for a set, which is crazy. So I am doing my twine. So I'm going to run my glue along the edge. I'm going to take my twine. I have to be really careful because I don't have the luxury of that big 3/8 inch ribbon. So I'm going to try to line it up as perfectly as I can. And I'm going to do it right here too, right along the seam where it separates the two. Just like that. Just take it, lay it right in that glue. I'm trying not to touch it because if I touch it, sometimes I get glue on my fingers and then I don't want that to get onto the felt. So there's our nice little rustic edge going up and over. I like the way that that looks. Very primitive, very country, very farmhouse-esque. So I'm just kind of coming through and trying to put some pressure on that so it'll actually glue along the seam. Just like that. And now we'll glue the bottom. Another glue stick. Let me make sure I've got that trimmed accordingly. There we go. From the edge all the way out. So there is our little plaid tree with the little rustic edge. So let's build it a cute little bow. We need to create a base for it again. So let's see. Let's make our twine just a little longer. I'm going to go to 13. I'm going to do a couple pieces at 13. And then, well, you can adorn these with buttons. You could, I'm making a set of them, believe it or not, and I'll show you the fabric for Christmas. Because I'm all about the whole Christmas thing. So now let's try to make that bow. So here's our loop. Can't pull this one off without it looking too wonky. I think it looks better. So I'm making sure I can get my loops down pat. So there is my little rustic tree. I'm going to trim these up so they're all the same size. And I'm going to glue that right at the base. Make sure all my ends are the same. And we'll glue that right at the end. Making sure this one just wants to float. Okay. Little glue to the back. Glue to the front. There's my little rustic farm tree. Right in our base hole. And I'm going to make sure that that goes on straight. But that is our little rustic tree. So like I said, you can take your rickrack, you can do twine, you can do If you're really good at writing, you know, you could put fall 2024. Again, like I said, you can try to find really small signs to do that. Michael's has a lot of the fall ribbon, and on this case, for the edge, you don't need wired ribbon, so you might even have that laying around. What else can I answer for you? Let me show you the Christmas fabric that I have that I'm going to make the ones for. And I think I'm actually going to sell a couple sets of these, but I'm selling them in sets of 3. So it'll be a small, medium, and large. They will not have the bases glued to the bottom, so that if people wanted to stain them, they can stain them. If they wanted to write on them, they can write on them. It just makes it for shipping so much easier. Look, to go like, if I was to ship the sets, they would just get shipped like this. How easy is this, right? They just would all go in a box together. So they're easy to take out, easy to assemble. They would just take them, put them in their bases, and then they're good to go. And then they have all 3 of their trees. So these are great that you can put at your craft fairs. You can have them stacked. You can create a whole bunch of different ones with a whole bunch of different patterns. Maybe somebody wants all of them in acorn. They want a small, medium, large acorn. Maybe make a bunch of different sets and let people mix and match. It's entirely up to you. So let me show you the Christmas fabric I just got that I'm going to be making the pine ones out of for Christmas. So look at this. Is that not gorgeous? It's actually very sparkly. So it's pine trees on a really dark emerald green. Then I have this fabric, which is Christmas trees with snowflakes. So if you did a fabric like this, you could even adorn it with fun things like little pom-poms. Like you could decorate your trees, you could put ornaments on, you could put mini lights on. And then I'm also doing it with the green and black plaid. So these are going to be the sets of the Christmas tree ones that I'm going to make. And I'm going to try these ones with wood bases, like the wood slice bases. But wouldn't that be cute to just have that with like this at the very bottom of your wood tree? It says Merry Christmas. How fun, right? So those are my ideas I have for you. Do you guys have any other questions I can answer for you while I am still here? I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Look forward. I hope you guys will share. If you decide to make them, share with me. I want to see your stuff so I can see what you make. So I'll be like, oh, that's really great fabric. Where'd you get that? Because I want to make one too. But all my fabric I got was from Joann's. So if you're inquiring where did Kat find all that, the acorn, the pumpkins, and the plaid all came from Joann's. And I think it's all 50% off. So take advantage of that. I will put the link to the Surebonder detailed glue gun. I think we all need to invest in one of those. And then this rotary tool, which is just indispensable. I use it for virtually everything. And I'll post those links in the description box. So when you're watching this on YouTube and you want the links to the tools, go to the description box. If you're on your mobile phone, you're going to need to click on the box where you can click see more, and that will expand, and there will be a active link for you to go right to Amazon and purchase that. Anything else? You're so welcome, Elizabeth. Hope you guys have an amazing time. Thanks for joining me, and I will talk to you all real soon. Bye for now, everyone.